I am about to perform the first service on my 2016 G650GS, and you can see that oil is dripping, has been dripping for a while from my drain plug. It's being caught here by this skid plate that I installed. I haven't ridden this bike off-road, so it seems like it was just dripping from the dealer. Can't see very well in there. Dripping from the dealer or from the factory. I don't know if the dealer does the oil, puts oil in it as part of their prep and then installs the drain plug. I have no idea. But it's dripping currently, so I'm going to remove the skid plate. Normally I probably wouldn't have to, because they give me this nice hole here on the alt-rider skid plate, but I'm going to remove it so I can get a good look up there and see what's going on with this leak. Hopefully the dealer just messed up with the torque maybe of the drain, or maybe it messed up the crush ring. I have no idea. We'll find out. Okay, so here's a much clearer picture of the oil that's dripped as I've been riding. You see it on the skid plate, and yeah, you can see it's up here stuck to this cross member right here. Bunch of oil and road grit, and there you can see the oil on the drain plug. I hope it's not leaking from this seam. The crankcase seam is right there, or oil pan seam, or whatever. It's the engine seam. Hopefully it's just this drain plug. Alright, there's the oil draining out of the sump. There's the plug with the little shavings on it. You can see them there. That's the first 600 miles. Oh yeah, let's do this. There you go, 650 miles. And today's May 15th, 2016. So let's see. Some little, oops, sorry about that. Some little shavings. We'll see if we get any of the next oil change at 6,000 miles. There's the crush washer. Doesn't really look very crushed. I have to say that I've heard that the drain plug can be attached quite heavily with a lot of torque from the dealer and or the factory, whichever. And this one wasn't too bad at all. I didn't even use a breaker bar. I just used a standard, it's just a 3/8 wrench. Actually, I have a 1/2-inch breaker bar, and I ground down this 6-sided impact socket to be able to get a good grab on it. And I thought it slipped off. I didn't apply that much pressure on it, or that much torque on it, and I thought it had slipped off, but in fact the fill plug had spun and had loosened up, so it really wasn't that much, I didn't think. So there you have it. Alright, so here's my original from the factory on my 16 650GS 2016. and I bought a 4-pack of Beamer Boneyard's oil change kit, and they sent me like an aluminum, I guess, crush washer, which I've read on various threads that for a while BMW had specified aluminum, maybe? I don't know, I'm all confused now. Like, maybe this isn't copper, maybe this is brass. But there was something where there was an error in the manual at one point. Seems like that was years ago. There was an error in the manual that said you were supposed to torque the drain plug to some insane torque. So they had to change the material that they used for the crush washer, because if you torqued up the original or the normal material, which I thought was copper, I assume it would like crush it beyond all recognition. So they changed the material to match the bad number in the book. So this one, aluminum, I guess. I'm gonna have to look up on the internet and see what's up with that. But I'll probably just go with the torque that it's supposed to be today and hope for the best. Like it seemed like it was already leaking anyway from the dealer, which I'm kind of glad that it didn't take me much to get this drain plug off originally, because that would go along with a slow leak out of the drain if they didn't torque it enough. This thing just does not look very crushed at all. So I'm hoping that they kind of put the kid gloves on when they torque this thing down. See that right there? You can just barely see any mark at all from the plug. I've got a nice 1/2-inch torque wrench, so I'll be able to put what I think is the correct amount of torque on it, which is, what did I read? 40 Newton meters? I've got to go look again. I always forget. There you go. All right, here's my oil trough that I made to try to prevent too much spilling of oil onto the engine. We'll see how this goes. All right, one hand on the phone, one hand on the socket here. All right, there we go. Well, that worked. Put it in my, dropped it into my magnetic tool tray here so I can see if any particles stick to the magnets. But boy, that oil looks clean. Man. It doesn't even look used at all. Which I guess makes sense. This oil change isn't to, it's not to change the oil, it's to get the chunks out, I guess. Although based on the tiny little chunks that were in the tiny little chunks that were on the magnet on the drain plug, I just don't even know if it's even worth it. They don't have you change all the oil, so it's not to change the oil. I guess the filter is the thing. So I'll probably won't be able to help myself but to tear apart the filter. Come on. There we go. Have to tear apart the filter and see what it looks like. But yeah, I'll just wipe all that out. But man, is it ever clean, like super clean. All right, there you go. This is how you save how much money? All right, here's one possible source for the oil that appeared at the bottom of my oil pan, bottom of my crankcase. I guess there's not an oil pan. Maybe it was flung off the chain and pooled there, because they sure seem to put a lot of something on the chain that got flung all over the place and collected up a bunch of road grit here in the sprocket guard, if you call it that. And there was quite a bit of residue on these surfaces here, and it looks like, you know, I could have collected and pooled here on this black part of the case, and come around down here, which was all kind of oily. You still see some oil residue on there, and could have come around to the bottom, and there's the sump plug. It could have just made its way down there. So we'll see if I see any more oil in the next few hundred miles.